Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to this channel and give this video a like.
Pod in the description. Get on that right now.
Tom Brady just won his 7th Super Bowl, his 5th MVP, and I'll be honest, watching it, I think I'm still in a state of disbelief. I can't believe he makes winning a game look so easy that other people struggle just to get to.
This is the craziest thing in our sporting lives, I think. I'm 36 years old. You could argue just his run in New England was, up there with the craziest thing we'd ever seen, right? Some of Jordan's runs, Tiger's runs. It's on a short list. I didn't experience like Muhammad Ali or fucking I guess Cal Ripken had a moment in the mid-90s that was pretty big, but that was just one moment. I mean, it was a long moment of not missing games. But to me, to move teams like he did, and to not just move teams, but go to the Bucks, he went guy, and I know they did have a lot of talent, and they truly did. I mean, you're watching them today, you're like, God, the team's stacked. They were really talented. But we've seen a lot of really I mean, the Lions have had talent before. Like, talent doesn't mean anything in football, right? It doesn't guarantee you anything. It doesn't guarantee you playoffs, let alone playoff wins, let alone making a run. To go there and to win a Super Bowl, think about just the three quarterbacks he's beat. If we just throw out, what's his name, Heineke, we'll not even count that. He beats Breeze in his last game ever. He beats Rodgers at Lambeau, and he beats Mahomes. Like, that's a pretty epic first year with the Bucks, knocking off those three quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, I one thing I was thinking about after the game was, would he have won the Super Bowl had he stayed put in New England?
No.
I mean, he would have had to go through Kansas City in Kansas City. Potentially, right?
New England's team wasn't nearly as talented as Tampa Bay's.
No doubt. I'm just saying, like, if he's in the AFC, he's got to play a road game against the Chiefs in all likelihood. And then on top of that, his team's not as good, not as talented.
But think of how many road games. He's probably, probably doesn't win the division this year. Maybe they win 10, 11 games, right? And he's got to win road games.
Yeah, although he had to win road games anyway, to your point earlier. He had to beat Rodgers in Green Bay. But no, I don't think he does either. Like, to me, that's...
Though.
Huh?
More firepower on this squad to win the road games, right?
Yeah. I'm with you on this being the most amazing. It's, for me, basketball's a little different because one individual player can have so much power over the ability to win. It's what makes LeBron special, right? Is he just lifts some of these rosters, especially in Cleveland. You're like, how is he taking this roster to a
like if LeBron next year went to the Sacramento Kings, and then I told you the Sacramento Kings won the NBA Finals, it's not that crazy once I tell you LeBron's on the team, right?
I just think we've seen in basketball guys we've seen
one
not
individual.
We've seen, but like Bill Russell's like we've seen guys just stack championships in the NBA to a degree, right? But to be this dominant at winning the game, that is just like, you think about the last 20 years, how hard it was for Peyton Manning just to get to the game, right? Tom's contemporaries, how hard it is just for Aaron Rodgers to get to the game. Like, when you watch Aaron Rodgers, you think it's really hard to get to the Super Bowl. When you watch Tom, you think like, well, you just got to win 3 games and bam, you're there. And then all you do, you just got to win that game.
Well, to me,
but it's not that easy.
It's one thing for us to talk about it and fans to talk about it and everyone watching, talking about it and thinking about it. Imagine being Aaron Rodgers right now at home, having a couple cocktails, and be like, what the fuck? This isn't, guy, he's been to one. He's been to one. There's probably a decent chance. A damn good chance. He only goes to one. Russell, who won the Man of the Year, who's there's a decent chance he only goes to one. Breeze only went to one. Now, I think those guys are better than Breeze, but the point is, like, Breeze, like Rodgers, played on just powerhouse teams, right? For, a decade, I'd say, of Breeze's like 15 years, 10 of them, like he went into the playoffs thinking like, we got a pretty damn good shot. Brady, you can manifest or believe or TB12 it, whatever. You still got to do it, right? It's insanity, man. Today was an ass kicking. This is the easiest Super Bowl he's had. Ever, right?
And a big part of that was just the Chiefs being down both tackles and 3 offensive linemen. Patrick Mahomes' job was really hard. He was running for his life after a second and a half, it felt like. But whatever. To me, Tom won the MVP. It was going to be tight, right? Between him and Gronk. I think he could have given it to Gronk. Thank God they didn't give it to Devin White. I'm sorry. I know you could have made $1,200 on that. But as the person who recommended, I feel like first recommended Devin White at 66-1 and then didn't bet on him at that point in time. I would have been devastated had he won the MVP. I think Tom's final numbers, which were 21-29 for 201, 3 touchdowns, no picks. I think he was better than that. At halftime, he was 16-20 for 140.
He was unreal in the first half.
And then they didn't. What do they have to do after that?
No,
right?
well, the game was over.
So I think his numbers got suppressed by the fact that he didn't really have to do much beyond that. But I thought he was fantastic. And I would have loved to have seen Gronk win it. I thought it was fitting that Tom won the thing because Gronk's not there if it's not for Tom. Leonard Fournette's not there if it's not for Tom. Antonio Brown, who caught a touchdown, is not there if it's not for Tom. And the Buccaneers sure as hell are not there if it's not for Tom Brady. So he would have gotten my MVP vote. 5 Super Bowl MVPs is just that might be just as crazy as the 7 Super Bowl wins.
Yeah, I mean, no one. You just see Mahomes get his ass kicked. You realize, like, listen, he might end up with like 3, but that's going to be he'll go down as like one of the most remarkable careers. Like Tom's career, he's in just a stratosphere in the universe all by himself when it comes to football. Like, I mean, you see these Montana videos. Like, he was 4 for 4. That was it. They got there 4 times. That means all those other years, he got knocked out by the Bears, by the New York Giants, by fucking whoever. Got there 4 times. That was it. I mean, the 10 is pretty nuts, guy. And I think you and I went back and forth this week who had more on the line. And, you know, Mahomes, it's just the one thing you realize he's young. He's got a lot left. Like, Tom doesn't have that much more left. You never know. The adding the NFC Championship, like, he immediately, guy, I mean, he's the greatest Patriot ever because when he left the Patriots, he was the greatest player ever. He's an absolute icon. It's like Bird, Ted Williams, Bill Russell, but Brady's at the top, right? Even probably over Bill Russell, maybe just hand in hand with Bill Russell. Then he goes to Tampa. If he did retire, which he clearly is not going to, because why would he? The game, he's in complete control of everything he's doing. You could justify putting a statue. His name's clearly like, was it this year? Or no, it was Gruden's last year in the booth. Remember, they put his name up in the and that's when the buzz was like, is he going to come back to Tampa? Is he going to come back to the Raiders? So that was 3 years ago, and it took Gruden 15 years to get it up there after winning the Super Bowl. Like Tom, like he 100% his name's going up there, right? 1 year, 1 Super Bowl, regardless of what happens next year.
Yeah, but that's the other thing is I don't even think. Like, when you say regardless of what happens next year, what you're kind of saying is like, well, I mean, he's not going to do it next year, right?
Well, yeah, I'm saying regardless, like maybe they
I agree with
NFC
you. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Like, is Stafford beating him?
Like, I thought this watching the game, that ball he threw early in the game, he throws that pass out to the far sideline to Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown goes up and catches it. And when he made that throw, I thought, is his arm top 15 in the NFL right now? I mean, it's not a weak arm.
No.
It's more than good enough right now for today's NFL. He's not out there like beating you with his brain only, kind of the way Breeze does, right?
Wouldn't you say the biggest difference, his contemporaries that all just kind of Rivers tapped out, and I'm tapping out, you know what I mean? Like retired, just got old, just
looked old.
Manning was done, Breeze done. Those guys never had the arm to begin with, right? The one thing Tom had is he was a dude throwing 98 that. You know what? When he retires, he'll end up throwing 92 or 93. The problem for those guys is they peaked at like 94, and when all of a sudden they look, they're like Jared Weaver, and it's like 85. Tom, you'd agree if Tom was like them arm-wise, he'd be in trouble because he can't move.
Yeah.
One of his defining characteristics as a great player, I don't think we really talk about him, the player, that much. We talk about like the TB12 and the drive and just
the winning.
And the teammate and just the fucking rallying the guys. His arm is like, even Montana didn't have a great arm. Like, his arm is just a high-end arm. And I think that has been a huge separating factor over him. That's the crazy part about Rodgers. Think about that. Like, the one thing with Rodgers, even Elway got to 5, right? You would think he would just be able to will you to like 2 or 3. Now, part of it, I think the Packer fans would say, his defenses, for the most part, are never great, and sometimes they're really shitty. That is one thing Tom has going for him, right? His defense is
For
really
sure.
good. Now, I'd say, well, you had Montana before Tom ever arrived. You might want to Google where his defenses ranked. They were high. Like, you need good defenses to have a good team. That's part of football, right? The NBA is no different. Like, you got to play good defense to win NBA championships. Baseball's no different. You got to be able to pitch and play defense to win. Like, it's just part of the deal in football is I'd say Tampa's like a high-end Super Bowl defense. You probably don't need to be that good. Like, the Chiefs' defense was good enough. It just turned out their offense fell apart and they had no shot, right? They scored 9
Yeah,
points.
although I was thinking watching the game, like when you sometimes we spend so much time talking about quarterbacks, we not forget, but maybe we don't talk enough about what a championship defense really looks like and how much they can make up for other deficiencies. Not that the Bucs had other deficiencies.
When you have a good offense and a championship defense, you're going to win the Super Bowl, right? Because you can have a championship defense. I thought the Niners did last year, but they didn't have a championship offense.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. Like today, like you just go, well, they got playoff Lenny. They got Rojo, so their backfield's good. They go, Gronk looks damn good. Brady, they've thrown some plays to. All their wide receivers are sweet. I mean, Tampa's offense.
And they've got
loaded?
would you say they have, how many playmakers do they have on defense? 4?
I'd say both the ends can make play,
Yeah.
JPP and Shaq. Both the linebackers. I texted a buddy. I was like, do you consider Levant? Because obviously Devin White gets all the pub. I'm like, do you consider Levante David a high-end starter? He's like, hell yes. So,
Vita Vea?
Big time. 31, they got the Taunting, who's a rookie. I mean, he's sweet. Honestly, their corners, like the Bunting, they're just solid. Like they kind of feel like the Chiefs corners. Like they don't have Derivis or anything, but like every team in the league would take their group. Right? They're athletic. They run around. They play hard. Yeah, just thought their defensive line. Like, did Chris Jones play tonight? I don't remember hearing his name. I think part of the problem for it felt like Tom was, I don't know how dirty his jersey was. Beside the one snap that went over his head or like hit him in the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually did a great job. He like located it, got right to it, and hit the ground. Mahomes was running for his life, which Brady, I think the Brady haters, I don't even, you can't exist anymore. Like, they got completely shut up this year. Like, there's nothing to be said.
Well,
he went into a team that sucked, and then he goes there and he wins the Super Bowl.
That's why I thought the legacy building opportunity was just more winning, but also kind of separating himself from Belichick. And I think that's part of what I like. I wonder if Tom is going to be viewed with hindsight as even on a pedestal above Bill in the annals of NFL history.
What would the NFL do if Belichick somehow get a quarterback, Patriot, Tampa, Super Bowl next year?
Do
you think they'd sign up for that right now?
I'd sign up for that right now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, me too.
As long as it's not like, a great defense and
yeah. No, I mean,
Garoppolo?
To make it to the Super Bowl, you got to be pretty damn good.
Do you think we'd call the Niners 0 for 3 if they passed on Mahomes, didn't get a Brady, and then traded Garoppolo to New England, and New England went to the Super Bowl? It's like the Costanza, like everything they do, just go with the opposite decision.
Schefter tweeted tonight that, and we've talked a little bit about this, not necessarily the two teams. He's like, don't forget. I don't know exactly what the tweet was, but the gist of it was, or words-wise, the gist of it was 2 teams called and really pursued Tom. Like, remember, rumors were that Tom reached out to, like, the Saints. Tom reached out to, obviously, the Niners. Tom put his feelers out to the Raiders. Like, Don Yee had to do some work. It wasn't like the phone was just blowing up. It was really the Chargers and the Bucs wanted him. You got to give the Bucs credit. I think the hindsight is like, of course the Bucs took him. I don't think people were beating down his doors. The Patriots had looked shitty. Remember, their offense was really bad toward the end of the season. He was 43 years old. It really wasn't that crazy at the time. Like, yeah, team didn't want him. We defended the 49ers with Jimmy fucking Garoppolo. Think how stupid that sounds a year later.
Yeah.
But again, the Niners weren't alone. Like, a lot of teams could have had him.
That's, to me, and this is where I think every time Brady has won a Super Bowl now, we kind of say, this is, wow, what a last chapter. And it's not. He could win another one next year, John.
Well, you don't think he's going to retire, do you?
No, I don't think he's close to retiring. I think he's going to sign another contract.
I do too.
The only way is if something, bad happens physically.
Well, if you're Tampa,
but he's
right
not
now,
like trending that direction.
Well, if you were Tampa, wouldn't you just plan on signing him to 1-year deals until he's done?
Yeah.
Don't you think he'll just retire in Tampa Bay? I guess you could never. Who knows? A lot of things change.
But at this point, who is Tampa going to be like, nah, Tom, we're going to pivot from here. Thank you, but no, you take Tom 1 year too long.
Also, Tom's already a part of like taking a little less to help you keep the sweet guys. Like Tom kind of gets that, right? He doesn't need the extra 10. He'd also go, now I get the tax benefits, keep the extra linebacker, keep Chris Godwin.
Right.
Tom's smart that way.
I got to think the 4 Bucs owners who all look like clones of each other are going to make the right decision here and give Tom Brady as much money as he wants for as long as he wants it.
I would agree. Yeah.